like the other mascots for the other teams that they just pick something that's silly, but he has class and he has attitude. He does, and he doesn't have to say a word.
The lion means everything. I mean, he exhibits the Penn State tradition of honor and success. He's Penn State for us.
I think that the Nittany Lion really represents what's right about college football. A feline in a costume that can rise above, any criticism and ignite 110,000 people in passion.
The lion makes this place. He's our spirit embodied.
The lion, he's my boy. I like it.
Heart of the Lion was made possible with financial support from the Penn State Alumni Association, informing, involving, and inspiring Penn State alumni and friends worldwide through programs, events, and communications. On the web at alumni.psu.edu. From Lions Pride, offering Penn State sportswear, gifts, and Nittany Lion apparel for more than 32 years. 112 East College Avenue in State College, or online at lions-pride.com. From Penn's Cave and Wildlife Park, located in Center Hall, PA, and 20 minutes from Penn State University, a proud sponsor of the Heart of the Lion production. The Student Bookstore in downtown State College, offering a selection of blue and white collectibles to loyal Penn State fans everywhere with a click of the mouse at thestudentbookstore.com. The Big Blue on the Corner, Student Bookstore. Cole Hep Stone Centers in DuBois and Julienne, featuring stone countertops, natural building and landscaping stone, concrete blocks and true value hardware. Cole Hep Stone Centers at stonecenter.com. From Old State Clothing Company, with officially licensed Penn State apparel and gifts for the youngest to the oldest Nittany Lions fan. Located at the corner of Beaver Avenue and Allen Street in downtown State College, at the Visitors Center at Beaver Stadium, and always online at oldstate.com. And from viewers like you, thank you.
He struts, he leaps, he's playful and proud. And for generations, the lion has held in his hands the collective spirit of thousands of Penn Staters.
The lion is athletic, it's strong, it's smart, it's quick, it's fast. It's a symbol of what Penn State is and what Penn State represents.
One of the first things that people told me when I became the Lion is there's a ranking order. There's God, there's Joe Paterno, there's the Nittany Lion.
We've been able to have fun, represent the university well, but make it a symbol of pride, a truly living symbol of what the university stands for.
The lion is a friend of everybody, especially the children. And walking through the stadium is the greatest thing he could do because they love him.
It's a symbol of Penn State, and it kind of embodies the values and the traditions of Penn State. But it's like a focal point for the school pride, which I really think is somewhat unparalleled across the country.
Like the 45 Lions before him, senior James Sheep will soon graduate and pass the Lions mantle to a new mascot.
The end of my tenure as a Lion really brought a mix of emotions, a relief in terms of the amount of events I was doing. I'm finally able to be a normal college student again with all of my friends.
He does more than just sports. The Lion is Penn State's ambassador and appears at nearly 350 events a year.
Roar, Lions, roar!
That's kind of one of the biggest sacrifices is your social life. You don't really have that time off that a lot of students do. I think probably come next football season when I see the new Lion run out to the middle of the field, it'll really hit me then.
Usually students who are interested in becoming the mascot contact me, which is a huge perk because it lets me know that they've really done a little bit of research and they know that he's about to graduate, and they contact me and say, I hear that the mascot's on his way out, and I was wondering when the tryouts were and what I needed to do to get prepared for tryouts.
The first stage of the process was simply a written application. It asked questions such as, why do you want to be the Nittany Lion? What do you think the Nittany Lion's importance is to the university? And I think I turned in about an 8.5-page application. Matter of fact, it may have been the longest paper I wrote while I was a student at Penn State.
The position of Nittany Lion mascot is open to any Penn State undergraduate. 8 finalists make the first cut to see who will follow in the Lion's paw prints. For many, it's been a lifelong dream.
So I look at their application, I check their GPAs. They need to have strong GPAs because I realize once they get the position, there's a possibility of them missing a lot of class, so I want to make sure that they are a strong student. So I'll do a cut from their GPAs based on the application.
Growing up, we would go to the football games, and I would see the Lion, and I would just be in awe, and I would watch it.
I've loved Penn State since I was about 10 years old. My mom is alumni, grandfather's alumni.
And I just remember thinking, wow, like I wonder who it is, you know, because it is a big mystery to a lot of people.
Being the Lion, being the center of attention at football games, just getting the crowd hyped up, be exciting.
So when I saw him actually go start crowd surfing, I was like, wow, that'd be pretty cool to crowd surf. I think I'd like to be the Lion.
It wasn't a whimsical thing. It wasn't one day I woke up and decided to be the Lion. This school has given me a lot, and I feel like this is one thing I can give back to it.
I was thinking about trying out for cheerleading this year, and then the idea of the Lion came up because he's a senior this year, he's graduating.
Everybody loves the Lion mascot that's a Penn State alum, so it's just a great opportunity.
It's an opportunity of a lifetime, and why pass it up?
The Penn State Lion is no ordinary mascot. Cheered and revered, he is Penn State to fans and alumni the world over.
He's personified whenever you actually get to hold him and pass him back like that. He's not just a figure down on the field. He actually comes to you and touches you as a person.
I like the Lion because he makes me happy. He makes me feel like a kid again.
Through the years, he just stays the same, just like the rest of us. He never ages.
There he is. There's our Lion.
The position of the mascot was simple when it started. In terms of the mascot importance to the athletic department, it's been huge. His importance is a lot different than when I was here in the 80s. So even over the past few decades, it's changed a lot. So I can only imagine what it's changed from when Gene Whetstone was the mascot.
I came here in 1938 and had a feeling that the place was rather dead. Some excitement was needed because the football team was dragging. So I thought, hey, I wonder why we don't have a mascot.
The Penn State mascot has changed dramatically since the first mascot appeared in the 1850s. The very first was Coley, a mule that was used to help haul stone for the first building on campus. In 1907, Joe Mason of the Penn State baseball team told the Princeton team that our Lion can beat your Tiger. And they did. However, there was no actual lion yet. The student body had fully adopted the lion as their mascot by 1910, but a life-sized animated lion didn't appear until 1921, when Richard Hoffman wore the suit of an African lion, a costume from a school play. But during the losing season, Coach Hugo Bezdek banned the lion from the field, and it didn't return for over a decade. Gene Whetstone, who would go on to coach 9 Penn State national champion gymnastics teams, became the new era's first Nittany Lion in 1939.
After that, of course, we realized it belonged to a student. And so Hump Fishburne, who was the head of the Blue Band, and myself decided, how about let's have a tryout every year, and we'll choose a lion. It was always a big contest.
For nearly 70 years, Penn State students have competed for the honor of becoming the Nittany Lion mascot.
Tonight's interview process, it's the second round of elimination for the tryouts.
It's 11 judges, and then whoever they like from this is going to move on to the final tryout Sunday.
There's 11 people sitting right in front of you. You're in a single chair in the center of the room. They're gonna, they're just trying to see how you react to pressure.
I must say I'm a little nervous because I've never done an interview like this in front of so many people where they can ask me anything. But I'm excited because I get an opportunity to prove to these people that I could be a great lion.
This is cozy.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself to get things started?
What do you foresee as your biggest challenge?
Why did you decide to try out for the mascot?
What do you bring to the lion position?
We said to you tonight, you've won the lottery. What 3 things would you spend your lottery winnings on?
It's an intimidating atmosphere because the position that they're being thrown in Oftentimes they're asked to go to speaking engagements when they're not the mascot.
What non-study book do you have on your nightstand?
Can you tell me what your least favorite quality is? How would you want people to remember you?
What do you foresee to be the most unique element of the lion position?
I think it's a great opportunity not only to give back to the university, but you can use it for such good, around the community and to help out others.
I'm looking for qualities, someone who can be engaging, who can really reach out and really connect, even without speaking. And obviously a lot of that is body language and presentation.
It really is my alma mater.
Tell us why you're mature enough, you're ready to take this position on.
Why should we choose you as opposed to some of the other applicants?
I've wanted to come here ever since I was 10 years old. It'd be really an honor to be able to represent the school as a Lion.
It's not just done to intimidate them, it's done to see how they carry themselves in situations that they may not be familiar with.
The hardest question for me was, they asked me what my biggest weakness was, so it kind of was hard to say something on the spot.
Going forward, well, there's really only one thing left now. It's the skit and the tryout on Sunday, so we'll see how that goes. I have to practice a little more and get everything done, so.
The student selected to be the next Lion not only wins the opportunity to wear the suit, he is also awarded the Norm Constantine Scholarship.
When I got the Lion position, I was told to research Norm Constantine. They said that the scholarship was named after him, so there must be a reason. They told me to go find that out. He's basically the quintessential Lion, and everything that really stands for, embodying the values and traditions of Penn State.
We have letters from people just saying that a hush would fall over, the crowd when he walked into a room. People were in awe of him and thought that he would be very standoffish, but he never was. He was just as friendly as could be to anyone and everyone.
Norm was the first of the student Lions that expanded his role by his choice to hospitals and disability centers and took the Lion to social service type activities.
As a student in 1979, Norm spent a full day navigating the University Park campus in a wheelchair to demonstrate the need for handicapped access.
My son is now a student at Penn State, and we were talking to one of the advisors, and we happened to be standing outside. And she said she'd been there for about 30 years, and here I go running off at the mouth and saying, "Oh, well, maybe you knew my brother or knew of him." I said his name was Norm Constantine. And she just lit up and she said, "Turn around." She said, "You see those handicap ramps? That's a result of what your brother did by being in a wheelchair for a full day just to assess where things should be changed to suit the handicap."
In a tragic irony, a year after Norm graduated from Penn State, he was struck by a car and confined to a wheelchair.
The Back the Lions organization, they rally behind the sports, but the lion is the symbol of all of that to them. And it was decided that initially to raise funds to help Norm, and then it was decided, the lion does so many things, is called on so much, that wouldn't it be good to help the lion financially in the form of a scholarship?
In the fall of 1989, 9 months before Norm passed away, he came home to Beaver Stadium one more time.
It was just awesome. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. The thing I remember the most is wheeling him to the 20-yard line and 87,000 fans standing and clapping for him.
Even though it's sad of everything that happened to Norm, there was a feeling of the love and what the Penn State family and what it means. So it was a special time, it really was.
One last hurdle for the Lion hopefuls. Each candidate must perform an original skit in front of the judges and a bleacher full of family and friends.
It's obvious the guys put a lot of time and energy into getting those skits ready and prepared. Now, from those skits, we have to be able to determine, is this single person going to be able to entertain 7,000 people at Rec Hall? Or 15,000 people at the Bryce Jordan Center? Or 100,000 people at Beaver Stadium?
The part of the first tryout that I felt least prepared to do was obviously being inside of the suit. You're in the suit for one of the first times really ever and interacting in front of people for the first time. You can't really be prepared for that because we weren't allowed to get in the suit in front of people.
You do that 2-minute skit and making sure that you kind of balance the athleticism, the spirit, the passion, the heart of the lion, but then also demonstrating that you had the gymnastic capability, you could interact with others, you could, your performance in the suit and how your mannerisms were really embodied what the lion is supposed to be, and that you were taking a human and making it really into what the mascot was.
So from that skit, we have to say, am I entertained by this? Are the people watching the tryout entertained by this? And if they're not entertained, we have to think, well, if they can't entertain this small group of people, how are they going to be able to entertain 100,000 people?
Finally, before the judges pick the next lion, each candidate must show that he can perform 50 one-arm push-ups.
When I knew I had to try out my first time, really the only main requirement I was worried about were the one-arm push-ups. I'd never done one in my life. And it was hard. It's an awkward, unnatural type of movement.
All of the judges are going to go to the conference room and talk about this for a little bit, and we'll be back as soon as we have a decision.
Let's see if everyone can go through their candidates and just rank them.
Max is my first. He's not wavered at all.
My number one choice is Aaron.
Aaron was my first.
Aaron or Clint as first.
I have Max as my first.
Max number one.
I have Clint.
I have Clint, Max, and then Brian.
So we have narrowed it down to those top three. Should we?
So who are the top three?
Between Max,
Aaron, and Clint for number one guy.
I mean, there's 3 guys here that I would be perfectly fine with.
They actually on their skits tied, and what my deciding factor was the interview.
The only problem I see are the push-ups.
It just makes me nervous.
He's really committed, very dedicated. He really wants this. He's very passionate about it.
I'll tell you what, if I lose, that'll sting. There's some awesome guys out there. So, everybody out there, great personality, inside and outside the suit. So regardless, I'm not going to be mad at the lion. I think it's whoever's going to get it, will be great for it and it'll be awesome.
I trust that they'll make the best decision. Whatever it is, they're going to pick the best lion that, they can, and I guess that's what's the most important, the bottom line is.
Max is the only one who has pluses almost the whole way across from me.
Okay.
For me, he was the persona of what I think the Nittany Lion is, both in the interview and in everything that he did here today.
I think physically, Just physically, I think Max is the most impressive. Clint is a very close second. I like Clint a lot. I think he has a lot of potential. I think the things that he's lacking is just due to immaturity and just, being a freshman and stuff like that.
I think he held his own in the interview. I think he could be better. I think he's young.
Right, and my question to you was, are we putting him in second only because he's a freshman?
It's a subconscious.
Are we doing that because he's only a freshman? Right.
I mean, Max, I think, did an excellent job with this skit, but I really liked, Aaron seemed to really pull out a lot of different little details.
I really liked Aaron in the interview, and that is such a big part, being out of the suit and talking to alumni and doing those functions. I was very impressed with him.
Aaron, he was actually my first going into it with the interview. He, by far, he had the highest score with the interview. So it's kind of a toss-up.
I've been involved with 3 or 4 of these now, and I would say this was probably the hardest Nittany Lion tryout that we've had. I think they were all equally on the same playing field, and but we're very happy with our decision.
It's all coming to an end, the end of the line career. I still have it for the rest of the semester. I'll be working in a kind of interim training period with a new line. Definitely blessed for the opportunity that I had to represent Penn State as a line.
Let's give a big round of applause to our judges. Thank you very much for helping us select a student who will hold Penn State's strongest tradition.
I heard my name, and I had to process it for a minute. And then I think I jumped about 6 feet in the air. To be selected and to follow in the footsteps of, guys like Andy Bailey and Bob Welsh and Cliff Fiskus and Norm Constantine. I mean, I just thought, wow, this is the greatest thing ever. And I have to make sure I do my best to live up to the traditions.
The physical demands of being the Lion and the frightening realization that you've become the Lion come to quite a collision on that day when they say you're it.
And then when they announced my name, it was, it's one of those feelings that, one of my biggest dreams, to be the Nittany Lion is actually going to come true. And I actually get to do this great thing.
Let's give a big round of applause to the candidates. You guys all did great jobs. Again, I want to thank you for coming out today. It took us a long time to decide who will hold this position, but we feel that we came up with the strongest candidate. Penn State's next Nittany Lion will be Clint Glory.
It was an incredible feeling. I didn't expect it because I know they've never had a freshman before. I was really just going out for the experience, and if I got it, that'd be great, but I was not expecting to win at all.
Unbelievable. What are you excited about? What's going through your mind right now? Well, I don't know. It's awesome. This is an awesome feeling.
I definitely flew 10 feet out of my seat. I actually started crying because I was so proud of him. The Lions was just something he really, really wanted, so I was really happy for him.
It really didn't sink in. I thought it wasn't real. I thought, he got it, and I just can't believe it. It was unbelievable.
I was shocked, not because I didn't think he deserved it, but because I think as a freshman, he didn't really have much of a chance.
Way to go, bud.
I knew you could do it. You're the best.
Didn't really set in until I saw the suit hanging in my room, like, there it is. This is my job.
When I first got the position, I brought the suit back to my house, and I had a place to hang it up on my wall, and I was sitting on my bed, exhausted from a week of tryouts and interviews. I was laying down looking at it, and I thought, the suit, has the potential to excite, hundreds of thousands of fans, to get the momentum of a game changed, and it's just kind of hanging there motionless, but, it begs for movement, and, once you get inside of it, you create that atmosphere, you create that aura.
Is this your waist?
Yes.
A new lion needs a new suit, made to order.
Sometimes, people want it to fit just right.
Yeah.
I enjoy the whole process, knowing the lion, being a part of, making the lion who he is. And we're going to put the tail right about here. You want to look in?
Up a little higher would be better.
Each lion gets 2 suits a year, only because of the fact that they're in demand for so many events. Just let your arm just rest comfortably. We start with the first game. By bowl game, they're ready for the second one, and they use that through basketball. This is pretty much what the head looks like.
Okay.
But it's so sad because when you put it together, it just looks like a skinned cat. When you cut the
Tradition doesn't just follow the lion, it follows his tailor as well.
My mother, she lived for Penn State football, and making the lion suit for her was, the next best thing to being on the football team.
For nearly 20 years, Miyako D'Angelo of State College, Pennsylvania, custom-made every lion suit.
She had some health problems. She said, I can't let the lion go. I love the lion. So she said, you'll do it. And, when my mother said, you do it, you did it.
The family tradition extends to Elizabeth's husband, John, the head maker.
As far as making the head, I feel like that's kind of the most important part because that's the part everyone relates to. That's where all the personality is. And then when Elizabeth cuts the fur for the head, I have her make the holes for these openings really small so I can...
It was my mother's passion, and it's become a family passion.
The early lion suits were atrocious. They really were. They were in bad shape. They were made out of real animal fur for a while, because just imagine the reek of these things.
They would take an old lion and make a suit out of real lion fur, which is unbelievably hot, heavy, and it doesn't last very well. So they eventually went into this very thick, heavy mohair.
The lion costume I had was like a polyester suit. It had that real short, fuzzy stuff, and it was incredibly hot. And with the shoulder pads and the helmet, I was always warm as a lion.
If you look at the mascot outfit from when it first started to where it is now, there have been changes. And when those changes have occurred, we have to make sure that we're very careful. We want to make sure that our fans and alumni still feel a strong connection to that mascot look so that they can be in touch with the mascot.
Fashion and flair can turn a shy young man into a roaring lion, and sometimes even a sexy beast.
One day there are 3 girls banging on their window across from my window in the fraternity house. And they want me to raise the window. So I raise the window and they say, "What's that staring at us here?" Because I used to keep the head on my disc looking out the window. "Oh, I'm the Nittany Lion." That's the head. And one of the girls, I sort of had my eye out for her. Romance bloomed. And a few days later, I gave her my fraternity pin. We got married in June of 1945 and been married ever since.
I do want to point out that I have a picture of every single mascot with his arm around a beautiful 21-year-old woman in a cheerleader's outfit. I can't help but think that there is some relationship between being willing to put up with a stinky, heavy, ugly suit and having a chance to hobnob with some of the more attractive co-eds over the years.
From the time Gene Whetstone reintroduced the lion in the late 1930s, they had to have certain things that they did during games that required them to be athletic.
It was in 1967 when Dan Kohlhepp introduced what has become the signature of the lion mascot, the one-arm push-up.
As a former wrestler, one of my few transferable skills from the wrestling mat to the cheerleading squad was the ability to do one-arm push-ups.
After every Penn State touchdown, the lion does the same number of push-ups as matches the score.
One-arm push-ups were actually fun.
with the exception of the '94 season, which ended up being the highest scoring season. So about midway through the season, I actually had to start using my other arm.
So I have to apologize for all the sore arms that the Nittany Lions have had. I never did that many before, and now they've done an enormous amount.
There were always skits, there were always activities that the Lion was expected to do in addition to interacting with the crowd. But actually, I think that's where the Lion has his best moments.
Some of the skits that the guys used to do back in the 50s or the late 40s were so funny that people alive today still remember some of their skits.
Each person had a different entrance, and they were all sensational. They were all good.
To me, it was very important that I played a role in terms of helping the team win. That was key. So it's all well and good to be out there and clown around and make people laugh, but at the end of the day, to me, it was serious work in terms of trying to excite the crowd in some way that Penn State was going to have an advantage and was going to win.
We had some very creative mascots over the years. And the thing is, that's interesting about this, is that you had to do everything that they did before. You can't come in and say, well, I'm not a one-arm push-up guy. Never mind about that, because I'm a really good dancer. Well, no. I mean, we want you to be a really good dancer, but you also still have to be the one-arm push-up guy. So all of the things that were there traditionally remained, but you always needed a new wrinkle.
In 1996, Penn State basketball got a new home, the Bryce Jordan Center. The team and the Lion performed before a bigger audience than ever. The first Lion in the new arena was Brad Cornelli.
I thought, well, I got to do something. I got these timeouts that they give me 2 a game. What am I going to do? Just go out there and run in a circle and go back in the locker room? So I started thinking, and when in the 80s when I was a kid, breakdancing was huge. I'm a pretty good moonwalker. I've always been a fan of Michael Jackson music. I said, that'll be a good one. So I put felt on my shoes and I moonwalked across the floor and the crowd went crazy.
I will never forget, we had a Lion that tried to go forward, but he went backwards. And I says, how can anybody make motions going forward and find themselves going backward?
I started to expect more, so I started, bringing that out every time out. After the crowd reaction, inside the suit, you just goosebumps. It's incredible that the crowd, the response, what it can do, and how you feed off that and they feed off you.
I think that the guys who tumble, run, jump, they have to really jump higher, run faster, tumble more. They really do have to be athletes.
I lived in mortal fear that I wouldn't be able to live up to the standards. So if there was ever a day I didn't feel like working out, I would remember what was at stake. But if you set goals and you try and achieve them, then you're going to achieve them. And these are some of the things that I learned as an 18 or 19-year-old that I've still carried with me today.
When I go back to the younger schools, like the elementary schools, other teachers and other people, even if I didn't have them as teachers, come back and just want to congratulate me.
When I think of Clint, when I look at him as the Nittany Lion, I think of a little boy just standing in front of me, holding up one of his little projects with a huge smile.
He's been a gymnast since he was 8 years old, and when he was 8, I believe, they competed at Penn State, and he fell in love with Penn State then.
I think he would make a great Nittany Lion. The experience that he had here at Parkland School District, he was our Trojan man, and I hadn't seen Clint for several years, and when I got to the game to actually see him in action, it was something that nobody around here had ever seen before. He was just phenomenal, and he would get the crowd going, and everybody, the kids loved him, parents loved him. He was phenomenal.
Clint had a very natural ability to work the crowd, and his natural gymnastics ability also allowed him to wow the crowd with flipping with the huge head on, and his interaction with the children was wonderful. He'd shake their hand, give them a high five, and make them feel comfortable, yet approaching them in this very large head.
He is actually innately shy. He loves that part of being famous and anonymous at the same time. So I think being in a character with a costume does him well. I think his goal as Trojan Man was always to make people smile.
We want the lion! We want the lion!
I love working with kids. Being able to make them smile is always fun. It's neat when they don't know that there's someone inside, and you gotta make an impression because sometimes that's the only time they'll ever see you.
We want the lion! 1, 2, 3, 4.
And it's surprising, working with college-age kids is also great because they go just as crazy as the little kids do.
2, 3.
It's like a switch, you know. Sometimes I could be really tired, really kind of not willing to do an event, but you know, right when I put that helmet on and snap it shut, it's like a switch, and I kind of get into character and I get into the lion mode, which, you know, all the former mascots know what that is.
For me, when I put the lion suit on, I wasn't Ricky. It was the Nittany Lion. And when it came off, you were back to being yourself again. So there was always that separation of Ricky versus Lion.
As soon as I put on the suit, it's like you're a whole different person. I don't get nervous at all. I get more nervous speaking in front of 20 people than I do running out in front of 40,000 at Madison Square Garden. As soon as I put that head on, it's like I'm fully in character. I just think it's an honor that I've gotten chosen, and I'm gonna try my best to live up to that name.
I think the men who have put on the suit have a couple of qualities that they share. One is great enthusiasm. I mean, you have to have a very high energy level. I mean, to go out for every game, to come up with the skits, to do the activities, to rev up the crowd, you have to have a high level of enthusiasm. One of the former men in the suit went on to be Cowbell Man because he couldn't sit still in the stands.
I had difficulties after being the Lion and coming and watching games, and you just, you know, you've spent the better part of 2 years running around the stadium all the time, and to then suddenly go and sit was really incredibly difficult. I mean, I was up, I was down, and people around me were like, you know, could you go stand over there, please? We realize you were the Lion, but you know.
So on one fall day, former Lion Rob Sterling took his own cowbell into Beaver Stadium and gained further fame as the Cowbell Man.
The first opportunity came by, and we'd all practiced what was going to happen. I was going to bang on the bell, and they were going to clap, and they were going to just yell, "Hey!" And did it once, and the whole place took off. With the bell, for me, it was just another function. Could we do something that would get the crowd going? Now, I didn't do it as the Lion, but I now, as a civilian, as it were, could help people make noise.
It just amazes me, even today. I'm 61 years old. People say, "You were the Nittany Lion?" And everything changes. And so that was over 40 years ago, for heaven's sake. Oh, you're the Lion.
When I hear the blue band playing, you know, I feel that same charge of adrenaline. I start to feel my feet tapping, like, okay, it's time to go. I should be running out in the field, you know, holding the Penn State flag, and, you know, it's time to do push-ups.
And they want to come up, they want to talk about when they were at Penn State. They want to talk about what their Lion did. They want to talk about how much fun they had.
I'm still the Lion. People will always talk about me being the Lion, and I have friends that still will tell me, you know, "Ricky, you're still my favorite Lion." So that part of you never goes away.
And it's terrific. Invariably, they ask me if I will do some one-arm push-ups for them, and invariably I told them I gave that up after when I turned 60.
Once a Lion, always a Lion. Homecoming at Penn State often marks an opportunity for former Lions to relive the good old days.
It means being a part of a group of individuals that are extremely privileged to represent such a wonderful university.
Well, when we were on the Bryce Jordan Center, they said, we're going to do 10 push-ups. The guy next to me said, "You don't have to do push-ups, just raise your head." "Oh, yeah?" Well, I did 10 push-ups. But two-handed push-ups. I kill a guy that started those one-hand push-ups.
9, 10.
It's been an amazing experience, and it's really fueled that passion I have for Penn State. That school pride that we have, that connection I'll always have to Penn State, and I'll always remember, I'll always kind of bleed blue and white. Penn State's always going to be in my heart.
When we come back to these reunions, there's 90-year-old guys that are still doing it because once you put the Lion suit on, you can't get that out of your system. It's an incredible experience.
Beaver Stadium, home of the Penn State Nittany Lions. In just a few hours, this empty arena will be transformed into one of the largest and loudest stadiums in the country. More than 100,000 strong. It will also become the stage for Clint Jory's debut as the Nittany Lion mascot.
Just gotta go out there and do what I gotta do. Excited, it's my first game. A little bit nervous. Hopefully I don't mess up anything too bad.
We're all going to have binoculars. I think we brought 5 pair with us. So all eyes will be on the Lion. Bye, buddy. We're proud of you. Good luck.
We want the Lion. We want the Lion. We want the Lion. Yeah, Lion. There you go. How you feeling today? All right, all right. You ready to do some push-ups? I'm thinking, how many think? Should we make him do 56?
Does Joe Paterno let the Nittany Lion sit on his lap, and does he pet it? Because they have such a close relationship.
The finest mascot in the land, the Nittany Lion.
Yeah!
No question about
That line sets the stage for the entrance of the team. He sets the stage for the crowd to cheer.
Just make sure you hit the students last, no matter what you do.
He is the one, the director of the noise in Beaver Stadium.
You don't go out before I send you, right?
The one thing that sends that chills through your body was by far going out to the 50-yard line in pregame and doing crowd control.
Nothing you can do can prepare you for going out there in front of all those people. The people are amazing, though.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Civil War Miss, the Nittany Lion.
When 100,000 people stand up and get really excited and start to clap, cheer, yell, scream, you just realize the power of the Lion over a group of people and how you can really make a difference in a game.
The day came that this is it, first game in Beaver Stadium. Here's the big giant flag, And what do I do with this? Well, you run in front of the team and you just don't get run over. I find that kind of funny that I kind of had to make it up as I went along, but it wasn't too hard to make up because you quickly find that you just get wrapped up into that entire setting.
The big thing to get used to was really just the noise level. So at some of the football games, you had people yelling so loud at times that you couldn't hear yourself think. But on that same note, you've got 100,000 people that are looking at you all the time. So anything you did, everybody reacted to.
You know, there's always a set of eyes on you no matter what. So you really have to look at every detail of your performance or of your actions. You know, you never want to stop moving. You always want to show these people that you have that energy, because if you break that energy or break that kind of cartoon type movement, then you're just a person in a suit.
It's wild. Standing out there is absolutely wild. You can't explain it. When everybody is screaming, when you get everybody yelling and you can get out there, and it's amazing. It's a rush.
And after the game was over, first you have a great adrenaline rush, and then there's a tremendous sense of relief. And then there's sort of the adrenaline dump, where you just all of a sudden feel like you're completely drained, physically and emotionally.
When you put the Lion suit on, you have superpowers. And you're a symbol, you had power, and everybody was your friend, and it was just terrific. The Lion is about Penn State and Penn State spirit. It's not about the person who wasn't any Lion.
Okay, say, we are!
I always felt when the Lion walked onto the court, the football field, wherever it was, that the Lion was more. The Lion represented the university, it represented both alumni and the students. It wasn't just about being down on the floor and having people see you. What I loved about it is that you came to the people. I always remember fondly of the Lion as I got to do 3 dance marathons. Working with children, working with the student body, it was just such a different event than any of the athletic activities where the students are dancing for 48 hours to raise money for children with cancer. You had all these children there and they just loved the Lion. So I remember spending more time in the costume, being drenched with sweat, you know, where the muscles were sore because you were just so dehydrated, but at the same time you were working with children, you were working with the students that had been up for so many hours, that were working tirelessly just to help someone else improve their quality of life and even sustain their life.
I was very fond of the Special Olympics. That is probably one of the most heartwarming, emotional. I mean, these kids were out there as athletes, and here they were just as excited being with the Lion and competing, and it was one of the best feelings I've ever had, was Special Olympics.
I rarely said no to anything, but if you wanted to ensure that I would be there, if someone called from a hospital and said, you know, we want you to come visit kids who are ill and really are, you know, could use a boost, you know, I would go and I could spend all day. And, you know, just to see the looks on their faces. And when they wrap their arms around you and give you that big hug, you just, you know, I admit, there's times, you know, you get a little bit teary when you're sitting inside, you know, you're glad that your head's covered because no one can see it.
Well, I love to make people laugh or smile. There's nothing better in the world than a smile. And the lion just makes people smile.
The other stuff was fun and enjoyable, and sporting events were exciting, and it was great, but when you could do things like that, I mean, that's what made it all worthwhile.
You know, whether it was my father or my grandfather that may have experienced the lion, it's almost the same exact mascot, you know, in terms of look. You get to come back and see the lion, and a father can say to his son, you know, oh, I remember sitting here and watching the lion do a dance, or I remember watching him climb up into the stands. I think that's why it's important.
To be the lion is a very important part of a person's life, forever. The experience of the lion was a very important one. It really set the stage for Penn State because they look at Penn State as the school to follow, academically as well as athletically. And the lion is not just an ordinary animal, he represents a very important part of Penn State.
Final state, strike your gate and win. Victory we predict for thee. We're ever true to you, dear old white and blue. Onward state, roar, lions, roar. We'll hit that line, roll up the score, fight on to victory evermore. Fight on, fight on, Penn State. Fight on, Penn State.
Heart of the Lion was made possible with financial support from the Penn State Alumni Association, informing, involving, and inspiring Penn State alumni and friends worldwide through programs, events, and communications. On the web at alumni.psu.edu. From Lions Pride, offering Penn State sportswear, gifts, and Nittany Lion apparel for more than 32 years. 112 East College Avenue in State College, or online at lions-pride.com. From Penn's Cave and Wildlife Park, located in Center Hall, PA, and 20 minutes from Penn State University, a proud sponsor of the Heart of the Lion production. The Student Bookstore in downtown State College, offering a selection of blue and white collectibles to loyal Penn State fans everywhere with a click of the mouse at thestudentbookstore.com. The Big Blue on the Corner, Student Bookstore. Cole Hep Stone Centers in DuBois and Julienne, featuring stone countertops, natural building and landscaping stone, concrete blocks, and true value hardware. Cole Hep Stone Centers at stonecenter.com. From Old State Clothing Company, with officially licensed Penn State apparel and gifts for the youngest to the oldest Nittany Lions fan. Located at the corner of Beaver Avenue and Allen Street in downtown